Duly startled, the Australians settled the match with another try from Campese, whose magical skills then set up a fifth try for his side, scored by Tim Horan. The final score of 32-19 rather flattered Australia though, and Wales, who are Argentina's next opponents in Group 3, would have taken note. This evening in Béziers, France opened their World Cup campaign against Romania in Group 4. A scrappy match, strewn with errors, was enlivened by a display of neat handling by France, leading to a try by winger Saint-André. A few minutes ago, France led by 26 points to 3.
And tonight's main news again. The Labour leader, Neil Kinnock, told the party conference in Brighton they face a rough election campaign, but a Labour victory is within their grasp. Newsnight on BBC 2 at 10:30 has an extended interview with the Labour leader, but that is the 9 o'clock news tonight. Good night, have a good weekend.
From Newsroom South East, the main stories this evening. A burglar who frightened a frail pensioner to death when he broke into a house in South London has been jailed for 7 years. Ivy Reardon suffered a fatal heart attack after confronting 24-year-old Sean Lewis at her home in Peckham Rye. The judge at Southwark Crown Court said today he had no doubt this was the reason for the 83-year-old woman's death. Ealing Council is to cut 300 jobs to help save £9 million by the end of the financial year. Administrative staff in the Education and Social Services departments are likely to be most affected. And almost 100 jobs will be lost in Hertfordshire with the closure of the printing firm which has produced the Salvation Army paper The War Cry for the past 90 years. An education consultant has been appointed by Lambeth Council to head an independent inquiry into why a teenage rapist struck again while in council care. Last week, 15-year-old Norbert Makuti was sentenced to 9 years detention for raping 2 women. The inquiry will investigate social services' failure to keep the boy in secure accommodation despite police requests. Midwives at Guy's Hospital are being told to pay part of the cost if their cars are damaged by vandals. The 15 midwives who use leased cars for their work are having to pay £50 every time they make an insurance claim. Their union, the Royal College of Midwives, says it will go into arbitration if the hospital doesn't back down.
Well, 1 month there was nearly £300 taken out of my salary, and I mean, I've got a mortgage to pay, all my outgoings, and I was left with really virtually nothing. I had to borrow money, in fact.
Doctors treating the boxer Michael Watson say they're now very worried by his slow progress. He's been on a life support machine since suffering a brain injury nearly 2 weeks ago. And that's it from Newsroom South East. Now the weather with Bernard Davey.
Good evening. Although the weather is fairly unsettled at the moment, just a hint that things will quieten down in some southern and eastern parts of England, and we can see that on the weather charts. We still have this area of low pressure to the north of Scotland, keeping it fairly windy and showery there. This weather system has now got a little area of low pressure with it, so that may push it on just a little bit quicker than we were thinking a few hours ago. So tomorrow, pushing through the Midlands, but I think failing to clear East Anglia or the southeast. And then we find, as we push into Sunday, a next system rushing in from the west, bringing its cloud, rain and wind, more especially to the north. But there's high pressure beginning to build into the south and east, so things, I think, becoming there a little bit quieter. This was how the satellite sequence worked through the day. The thicker cloud pushing through Northern Ireland and Scotland, bringing some heavy bursts of rain with it. And this cloud is all going to sink southeastwards, taking its rain with it during the next 24 hours or so. And that's what the rainfall radar shows at the moment. These brighter echoes are some heavier bursts of rain over Ireland, pushing through into southern parts of Scotland. And if we can follow this through on the cloud and the rain through tonight, we'll see that it tends to become a narrower band during tomorrow, perhaps even the rain becoming more patchy, but I wouldn't necessarily rule out some heavier bursts as it works its way towards East Anglia and the southeast, with heavy showers following behind that. By the end of the night then, the rain from the northeast to the southwest, perhaps some mist, maybe a touch of frost before the thicker cloud and the rain begins to push into southeastern England, some frost for Northern Ireland, a touch of frost too for Scotland, but still a fair number of showers around the northern and western coasts. So then tomorrow, perhaps just a hint of some brightness before the thicker cloud. Rain moves in from northeastern England, Wales and the southwest. The brighter weather into much of Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, eastern Scotland. But the showers up here in the north and west, the same old mix as we've had over recent days. Rain, sleet, snow, hail and the odd rumble of thunder. And then later tomorrow, the brighter weather coming into the Midlands, but perhaps failing to get into all of East Anglia or the southeast. That's where the weather front will be. The winds going around to a fresh northwesterly, so the temperatures feeling on the fresh side. And on Sunday, bright in the east, then rain.
Headline news, the return of the quiz that brings you education.
The day America was shut.
Now don't misprint that last word.
Theology.
God has sent 3 poll tax demands.
I suppose 3 is for the Father, Son and Holy Ghost, who obviously live in the same house.
And sporting affairs.
Gaza apparently told reporters afterwards that Mrs. Thatcher was very cuddly. Well, I suppose compared with Vinnie Jones, anyone's cuddly.
Have I got news for you? Back tonight at 10 on 2.
On BBC Two now, the power and the glory surrounding the story of motor racing is told in a new series, tonight roaring off the grid with some of the fastest men on earth. And here on BBC One in 50 minutes, we meet a pair who've had their share of glory, Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean, the former Olympic ice dance champions, and the Blade Runners profiled in Omnibus at 10:20.